Hello guys and welcome to this new RnD series. In this chapter or in this tutorial we will create a little macro blocky extrusion environment, something like that. You will get it when I will start to working on it. So this is a brand new hip file and I hope you are all good. And I think we get started here. First of all, we need to place geometry down. Make it black and round, for example, and let's call it geo macro info. Dive inside, and first of all I want to get a grid, or you can go with any other kind of surface, but to build the nodes up I will use a grid for now. So place a grid down and I will play here. Let's copy the relative reference. Let's make this 50 for now. I think that's enough for now. So we got 50 by 50, and now we will place down an attribute warp. Or let's get a primitive warp here. Pretty simple. And place down a poly extrude and dive inside into the primitive warp. I want to place a noise down and bind the noise out to an attribute. We will need a position for that, and you can choose any noise you want. For example, I like turbulent noise and anti-aliased, for example, or you can go with the unified noise static, and this is a noise with pretty many varieties, but I will stick with the anti-aliased noise for now. The problem with the anti-aliased noise is we need a fit range, because when we go here to the little question mark to fire up the help, the anti-aliased noise will get out minus 0.5 to 0.5, and we need to fit that. So we will do that. So source min minus 0.5 and source max 0.5. So we fitted our noise here. I think that's pretty good. And now for quick visualization we can bind it out to the color. Now you can play with the frequency here, so I will play a little bit with the roughness and get rid of the zero offset to get something like this here. Now I can bind it out to an attribute, so bind export and call it extrude. Copy this attribute that we binded out, so on each primitive we now get an attribute with the name extrude. Go to our poly extrude, go to local control, distance scale, and paste the binded attribute in there. Go for each individual elements, and now let's get a distance. And you can already see we will get something like this. For further adjustments I like to get a little bit more roughness in here. Yeah, to get something like this. That's pretty cool. But now I want to get this a little bit more art directable, and that's pretty easy. Place down a null node and call this in, let's just name it geo here. And let's get the attribute paint. With the attribute paint, we can paint an attribute onto geometry or points or primitives. And for this to work, we need to press enter in the viewport, and now we will get this little handle here. And with the mouse up and mouse down, you can scale the handle. With left click, you can draw, and with the middle mouse button, you can erase it. And if you don't like your strokes, you can reset it here, reset all changes. So I want to draw here a little bit now. Let's get my drawing skills out. Oh yeah, Tim, nice. Sick. So fill that out here, something like that. Something like that. Make it here a little bit. Now erase that here a little bit. And maybe here a little bit. To get something like this. Now we can get the attribute promote. So we promote the mask attribute from point to primitives, connect it to the WOP, dive inside the WOP, and now we will multiply our extrusion attribute with the mask. So we need to bind in the mask attribute. Let's get a bind node and call it mask. And now you will see we will get something like this. So non-extrusion here, non-extrusion here. That's pretty cool. So that's now pretty art directable, so you can draw here and get these things up. You can make little mountains, something like that, or erase them. Again, let's get something like this for now. I'm happy with that. Cool. Let's close here the extrusion back. So output back, and we will get something like this. For example, you can get another geo, so a sphere for example, or you can get a deformed grid, something like that. I think that's pretty cool now. And now I want to take this a little bit further. For example, what we can do, let's get them for each connected piece here. Oh no, wait, that's the wrong. Yeah, we need to split it. Let's just split it. Let's get the facet node. Let's make here unique points. And now we can go with the for each connected piece here. So we got 2040 little pieces. That's pretty cool. And now we can work with the loop a little bit. For example, what we can do, what's pretty cool, we can get a transform node here, get a transform node inside. And now I've got a preset for that. Get a centroid for each connected piece. It's centroid brackets 0, 0 and brackets, and then 0, 1 and 0, 2, and then you will get the primitive or the object center for each. And for example, you can scale them now a little bit, and you will get something like this. So that's pretty cool too. Of course you can scale it now by the meta node, something like that. But I think that's pretty nice when you can scale them a little bit. So let's get back to 0.85. I think I'm good with that. Cool. Let's make this white for example, and make another here and call it out. Now what I want to do, get an attribute promote. I want to go from primitive to points, and we can do this with the class attribute. So visualize the class here. So we will get a different color or a different attribute for each little block here. That's pretty cool. So we can use that for shading. Or we've got also the color, so we can use the color for shading as well. But for now, let's stick with the class attribute here. Dive up, or let's get here a little polybubble. Why not? Let's make a chamfer here. And I want to get hard normals here. Normal, let's recompute them and make them really hard. So 0. And now we will get a bevel for each little piece here. Let's dive up and create a material network. So material network for the Redshift shading, let's call it RS. And a ROP network. Where is it? There is it. A ROP network for the rendering settings. Let's call this out. Make it red for Redshift. Haha. And let's get an RS material builder. Let's call this RS mat. And for now we will dive back, place a material node here, connect it, call it mat, and assign the material here. Cool. Then we will need a camera. Go inside the camera. And let's change some parameters here, longer focal length, and I will go for other aspect ratio, something like that. Whoops. Something like that here. Now I can zoom out a little bit more and try to find an interesting perspective or composition. Maybe something like that. Then I want to get the handle for the camera. And I want to place the focus maybe here, but we can correct the focus later. Enable the DOF, so depth of field. Scale it down a little bit, and let's also get a bokeh image. Something like that. And we will need an a dome light, or you can do it with, you can make a manual light setup, but I want to use a dome light now, so let's call this RS dome light and get a dome light. Cool. Get back into the camera, and now we can fire up Redshift for the first time. To see something like this. That looks not bad at all. Let's get an explorers maybe to 1. I think that's pretty okay. Let's get it maybe to 1.5. Yeah, I think that's better. Now we can correct our focus distance, and I think the DOF is pretty okay for now. Of course you can play with that. Now I want to get the attribute. So R is point attribute, or what you can, there are several nodes for this. Where is it? R as vertex attribute, and there are also the color user data. So with these nodes you can get the attributes. Let's just have a look. Particles, where's it? Attributes. So export all, that's good. And we call this class. So let's copy it and bring it in here, class, and let's have a look. Whoops, diffuse color. Okay, the problem is the glass attribute is of course way too high, so we will fit it. You can download this asset from Gumroad. So we will fit this now, and I think we should get proper values here. Yes. And now we can use our color data with a ramp. Here are some presets to get something like this. So of course the class attribute begins here and goes further away. So you can use it like a ramp over the whole thing. Let's switch this, yes. And you will get something like this. That's pretty cool. For now, let's fire up Redshift again. I want a simple grayscale, and I want to make it a little bluish to the back here. Let's desaturate it a little bit. I think that's pretty cool. We can of course get something like a complementary look, something like that. Then I want to use the curvature node. To get a little bit detail here. 0.01, convex is okay. Get a little bit more samples here. I think that's alright. And for example, you can use a noise for the radius. Oh, we need a float for this. Yeah, okay. Let's do it the other way. So we got our noise here. First of all, I want to ramp the noise a little bit. And now make the frequency or the overall scale a little bit higher. And we can place down a color composite node. We will use our curvature for the base color. And for example, we can use multiply to get this little bit more distorted look here. That's cool for now. Or as material blender. What we can do now, we can blend the materials with our mask from the curvature. So we will get something like this. And now, of course, you can experiment with different materials here. To get like this golden look, something like that. And I think that's for this tutorial. I hope you liked it, and leave a comment, leave a like, leave a subscribe, and yeah, I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.